Good day, fellas. I hope you are ready for your long daily dose of skill. And I know quite some of you was waiting for a mega tier 10 Tech 3 review, so I will speak about every single tier 10 vehicle. I will rate them from epic to good to playable and to bad. And I will speak mainly about the randoms. I have no experience whatsoever in the clan wars, right? And I will say my opinion. Some of you might agree with them, some of you might disagree with them, and it's completely fine. There is nothing bad about it. I am just saying my thoughts about the tanks, right? And obviously, fellas, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, to save your time, right? I believe there is quite some of you which is having no interest to watch whatever, maybe 1 hour video. I don't know how long it's going to take, maybe 30 minutes, I don't know, right? You can skip to the end and there is going to be all ratings in the end, right? I believe that's completely understandable, and I hope it will make your life just tiny touch easier. And obviously, if you are enjoying what you are seeing, feel free to motivate us with the Kylers by leaving the virtual petting to the shoulder, which is like. Thank you very much, fellas. What I wanted to say something more, fellas. I love you. So, when we have everything out of the way, fellas, let's start our journey. Ergashem Flipwagen, straight to the hell, bad tank. Why so? As a light tank, you can do the things, so you can do the things with all light tanks, right? The main question is the gun opportunities and everything. Highlight of the gun is obviously high explosive penetration 120, but other than that, it's just missing stuff. Alpha damage and so on. And in the same time, why it's called Flipwagen, because you will get yourself into the positions or into the situations whenever you are going straight to the field, you are going to flip. It's just how this tank is working. So in my opinion, fellas, this is a bad light tank. Moving on, next we have the LT Ruski Light, right? T100. Honestly, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I think this light is still good. The main bad thing about this tank, you can get lit on fire quite often. Same goes for LT 432, if you are aware of that, right? Other than that, everything is fine. Although, one more thing which is worth to mention, you are more accurate whenever you are moving. I know it sounds weird, but as a sniper, this tank is sucking a massive PP. But once again, the camo of this vehicle is very, very good, and so on, right? I do not have the crew set here, but you get the point what I'm saying, right? And one more thing, AP as a gold is not really worth on this vehicle, so you are pretty much having mainly PCRs and you are feeling just fine, right? For spotting, it's one of the best light tanks, so in my opinion, it's straight up to good. Sheridan, this is a tricky one, and to be fair with you, there is two ways how you can play Sheridan. Way number one is you are trolling, you are pretty much trolling with a derp gun, which is not competitive way, but it can make a job done and you can have quite a bit of fun. Second of all, the DPM gun, the main gun, which is very, very good, which is this one, right? So you have a very, very solid DPM, and you are pretty much like a Patton, which is agile but without any armor whatsoever. So keep this in mind. This is very, 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 very nice gun in my opinion for this light tank, right? So, but in the same time, in my opinion, this is a worse spotter from the light tank, so it's so much harder to do the spotting thing. So just because based out of this, I would put it into the playable category, because I believe every single of you would agree this tank is better than Flipwagen, or this tank is better than Shitcore, right? So not a big surprise. Moving on next, fellas, we have MX-13 105. I am kind of biased for French tanks. I truly love them with all my heart. And I can tell you that MX-13 105 can spot, it can do damage. You have autoloader, right? 3 in the magazine, 390 alpha damage, so you are going to do quite a bit of damage, right? And the gun is actually quite accurate, plus you could spot. I cannot rate this tank playable, I cannot rate this tank epic, because we have this place already taken. So let's go with a good vehicle, right? I truly think every single light tank lover should get this vehicle, and have some fun. Sitting in the bush, waiting until enemy will mess up, and then clip butts, and then run away. It's always nice, don't you think so? So, what do we have here? We have the Ferrari. I believe that's quite straightforward. We can definitely tell this vehicle is broken, right? It's just silly. Tank which is going whatever 95 kilometers per hour, and tire is exploding, and it's fixing on the move and everything, and all this other stuff. So in my opinion, Panhard, straightforward, epic, aka broken in a way, right? There is nothing to talk about it. Good gun, extremely good gun handling, and this is just as a thought. CS63, the new Polish medium tank, have the bloom of the bloody sun, okay, whenever he is going into the supercharged mode, right? And this vehicle is the best sniper schnitzel when you are driving on 95 kilometers per hour. Well, quite silly, but hey, it is how it is, right? So once again, epic. Moving to the shitcore. I hear people is using this tank in the clan wars as a main spotter, passive spotter, whatever, but it's not topic about the clan war. Straight up to the bad category. Skill, what do you mean? Straight up to the bad category. Ikabu, I love you. I know you love this tank, okay? Buddy, but no. I would say it's bad because gun handling is not very good. DPM is sucking a massive PP. You have only 20 ammunition, and overall it doesn't have anything unique. It doesn't have anything special. You think you can spot with this tank better than you can with a Ferrari? Good bloody luck. You will meet Ferrari one-on-one, Ferrari will eat you. You will meet Ruski Light one-on-one, he will eat you. You will meet a Mix, he will bang you. You will meet Vaza will ram you to death. You will meet a Flipwagen, and the same Flipwagen will load high explosives and kick the living hell out of you. So everything is fine with this tank until you need to shoot. Also, one more thing to mention: no gun depression, no gun elevation. Or wait a second, let me quickly check it out. Yeah, -8 and 8. It's just simply no bueno. So straight to the bad category. And I know there is quite some of you which is in love with this tank. Good for you, fellas. Good for you. I'm saying my opinion, and I can't please you all, right? So moving on, next, what do we have? We have Waza 132. I recently played with this vehicle, and I'm putting into the bad category. That's quite crazy thinking about this tank used to be the best light tank, and now it's pretty much equal with a Flipwagen, Manticore, and overall it's in the bottom. Skill-wise, this vehicle in the bottom, and what is wrong with him? First of all, gun handling is made in China, so you can go and F yourself. Second of all, you are getting hit frontally, you are getting lit on fire. It's just no bueno. And speaking about the light tank ability spotting, yeah, that's okay. You can actually spot with this vehicle, but so you can do with the shitcore, AMX, Ruski Light, Flipwagen, and so on. You simply don't have gun, because gun handling will treat you like a big pile of kaku. And in my opinion, that's the main problem of this vehicle. So yeah. Here we go. Light tanks done, GG finito. Moving swiftly for medium tanks. What do we have here? Okay, let's start quickly with E50M, which recently got buffed. And fellows, don't mind the equipments which you are seeing here. I will make a different thing for equipment, which is going to be in the document hopefully very soon, so every single of you can check the different builds on the tanks, right? So yeah, when we have this out of the way, great. E50M, in my opinion, skill, you are an idiot. Yes, thank you. In my opinion, it's better than Leopard 1. And I know there is 90% of the people which is saying Leopard 1 is better, but don't judge me yet, right? What do I like about the E50M? It has quite rollish armor, and obviously you can get penetrated into the face. There is no doubts whatsoever, but the upper place is kind of bouncy, and so on, right? Plus, gun handling is extremely good. Plus, you are quite agile for this for this tank, at least in my opinion, and you can snipe very well. You can go close distance, and you can even play very aggressively against the tier 8. So I would rate this tank into the good category. I don't really think it's epic. I think it's good, right? But overall combination of the things is nice. And now Leo 1, even though I don't really love Leo 1 as much as I love E50M, it's still in the good category because it is a great sniper schnitzel, right? You have extremely good alpha damage for a medium tank, 420. I know one guy is yelling in the back road, 420 blaze it. I am looking at you, mother trucker, okay? I'm looking at you. Anyways, 420 alpha damage, right? Which is very, very good. Extremely good standard penetration, extremely good gold penetration with APCR, shell velocity crazy and everything. I mean, it's just great sniper schnitzel. Plus, if it's not enough, you have extremely good penetration with the high explosives. So let's put it into the good category. I don't really think it's super epic, but although I believe quite some of people would prefer this vehicle so much better than anything else. Moving on next, Key 91. Recently I played with this vehicle and it is weird, it's not good. In my opinion, it is playable in the best case scenario, because I mean, if you are comparing Key 91 against the Leopard, which both of them have the sniper schnitzel technique, right, or gameplay, I mean, they are not even debatable, to be fair with you, okay? So where am I going to put this this thing? I'm going to go, you know what, fellas, I'm going to go with a bad category. But skill, why the flying if you are saying this tank is bad? Listen, whenever you are comparing, let's speak about the flexibility, let's speak another Ruski medium tanks, and let's speak about the direct competition for this vehicle, which would be Leopard 1. Leopard 1 is better sniper than Key 91. I believe that's completely understandable and everyone knows that, right? Gun handling on Leo is better. Leo 1 is faster, although Leo have worse camo. But Leo can turn the turret fully, and this tank, if I'm not mistaken, cannot. Let's check it out quickly. Turret angle traverse 110 degrees. What that means, if 90 degrees is like this, right, so you can turn just a bit more than half, so it's just simply no bueno, right? So in my opinion, Key 91 is a bad tank, because you are gaining just tiny touch DPM, and you are pretty much losing everything what 140 has to offer, right? Because it's the same Russian tank and so on. In other words, it's sniper schnitzel AK tank destroyer. So in my opinion, it is just a bad tank. And I'm being honest, fellas. Moving on next swiftly. 140. This is quite interesting one, because I think it is unkillable medium tank, honestly. But skill, what do you mean it is unkillable medium tank? The thing is, everything is fine with it. You have a good gun. Whenever you are meeting someone who is tough, you are loading heat and you are shredding him like hot knife through the butter. You have extremely good shell velocity with a standard ammunition. You have good armor. Yeah, this tank can sometimes burn, but honestly, I don't really think there is anything bad with 140, so I'm going to put 140 into the epic category. And I know, fellas, it's disgusting and how dare I, but I think 140 is actually extremely good vehicle, fellas. At least that's what I want to believe, right? Moving on next, what do we have? Here we have 430U. 430U got balls cut recently, but in my opinion it did not change the tank whatsoever. I think the tank is still extremely good and extremely powerful, and in fact I think some people would prefer 430U over 140, and some people obviously would prefer 140 over 430U. The main thing what I want to say about this vehicle is it is still great, although the gun handling is probably the most annoying part of all this. And you know what, just because based on the gun handling, I'm going to put into the good category, right? Because it can be very frustrating. Overall, it is like a heavy tank, to be fair with you, not like a medium tank, right? So with 140 you would be way more versatile. You can move left, right, center, and you can snipe via the bigger distance. And with a 430 it's a bit different story. So good it is, that's not bad, right? Moving on next, what do we have here? T62A. Speaking about the T62A, my lovely friends, I think it's playable in the best case scenario. It's not great, it's not bad. I think it's better than Key 91, honestly, but I think it's just simply outdated because 140 is getting buffed every single year or once in 2 years, and this tank is just getting banged in the background and collecting dusts in the majority of the people garages. So in my opinion, it's playable and there is nothing to say about it. Pretty much 140 is better than T62A, and they are like twins. 140 have more armor in my opinion, more gun depression and everything. So yeah, 907, this is actually quite tricky one and quite interesting, because 907 is a great tank, although if you know how to penetrate this vehicle and you are pushing that 2 key, you know, it's going to be quite it is going to be quite straightforward banging for 907, although there is one more weak spot, which is this. If you are having more than 120 caliber gun, if I'm not mistaken, you are shredding through the head of the 907, if I'm not mistaken, right? But the funnest thing of this tank, it has a V-shaped hull like this, so it can bounce quite a bit of the shots from the side and everything. It's tricky tank, it's trollish tank. Honestly, I think, and one more thing which I want to highlight is the gun depression, which is -5, right? You know what? I believe they are equally fun to play, speaking about the 140 and 907. So I would rate the 907 to the epic category. And honestly, I like 907 so much more than 430U just because of the gun. Although, remember, with 907, you can get ammo racked quite often and you are getting lit on fire quite often too, right? But it is how it is, right? So 907 epic tank it is. Moving on to the Patton. Patton, in my opinion, it is a great tank, although not the friendliest tank to play. It has extremely good gun handling, okayish mobility, which is not very good. Speaking about mobility, it's 45 kilometers per hour, right? So it's not definitely not the most epic one, but it will make the job done. But the most important thing is the highlight. The gun handling, in my opinion, is epic and it's very good. So with this in mind, I would rate it in the good category. Honestly, I think this tank is great. M60. M60, this is a good one, fellas. M60 is pretty much cheap parody of the Patton. Skill, what do you mean? M60 is literally what the Patton used to be after the changes, after the buffs for a Patton, right? Because if you would pay attention at the turret of the Patton, you would notice the turret is more, the commander hatch is a bit more sloped and everything, right? It's looking a bit more modern. M60 whatsoever, here you go, pancake on top of the turret and eat kaku. Pretty much both of the guns have extremely good guns, but M60 is winning in the mobility department, but you cannot bounce shit. Believe me, I mean, I played with this vehicle recently, and for me, it did not bounce at literally anything, and you need to be way more passive. So in a way, this tank is becoming not like a Patton, but like Leopard 1. And the thing is, with M60, it doesn't matter how you're going to look at this vehicle, M60 is a bad Leopard. It's just how it goes. So that's why I'm going to rate it playable. That's what I think about this vehicle. Playable it is. And if you are thinking about buying it for bonds, honestly, I would highly recommend you to think twice. Do you need a bad Leopard in your garage? Honestly. AMX-30B. Okay, this is I mean, I can't say that straightforward. For me, it is playable, but majority of the people will hate this tank with all their heart, so I'm going to put it into the bad category. Skill-wise, so, okay, let's talk about the bad things about this vehicle. Or maybe let's start with the good things. DPM is actually quite nice on this vehicle. Quite nice is overestimation. I would say that's very good, right? DPM. But the gun accuracy of this vehicle, you are missing so many shots, it's not even funny. You are seeing this 0.31, but reality it's 0.4. Speaking about the accuracy, it's just no bueno in my opinion, right? And in the same time, if you want to play with something hold down, there is UDES and there is STB and everything. So honestly, in my opinion, this is a bad tier 10, I don't really think anyone should buy this vehicle from the collection vehicles. And skill how to buy collection vehicles. You are going into the tech tree and you are clicking right here, which is AKA collection tree, collections, right? And you can find the tanks right here, which you want to buy and so on, right? And that goes for pretty much every single nation, right? So keep this in mind. So AMX 30B, bad. Why so? Because there are so many better tanks, and I simply think it's just not very good. Now budget. Fellas, I'm a budget lover. Skill, what do you mean budget lover? Well, if you would pay attention right here into amount of the battles, you would see budget is my baby, okay? I pretty much grew up playing with this vehicle and everything, but there is a thing. Meta is changing quite quickly and significantly, if I can say so. So budget, from being good, in my opinion, budget is playable in the best case scenario. But skill, what do you mean? The thing is, if you want to spot, what budget used to be back in the day? Budget used to work as a spotter and as a damage maker, right? Nowadays, budget is neither of those. But skill, what do you mean? If you want to play for a damage, you are taking Progetto or TVP and you are having so much better gun handling, speaking about autoloaders and everything, right? Budget cannot hit shit via the longer distances especially, right? So keep this in mind. Not very good spotter, not very good damage maker. So what that means, my lovely friends, that means yeah, I love it. I love the burst of fire. Well, or I supposed to say the clip, and for me it would be good, but I will rate this tank as a playable, my friends. Playable it is. Next, Centurion action shit, straight up to the bad section. Skill, why you are sending this tank to the bad section? Listen. Armor for me with this vehicle is not working even when I'm using the full gun depression. I'm getting penetrated with a hit straight into the face. Artillery can penetrate this vehicle. You are getting ammo racket. Consistently in the front, right? Because ammo rack, if I'm not mistaken, is sitting somewhere over there, and the gun handling is not epic. This tank have only one good thing, and it is speed. So honestly, call me dirty fellas, but I would rather play with 1-to-1 than Centurion action shit, right? It's just how I feel about this vehicle. I'm sorry, I know there is quite a lot of lovers of this vehicle. As an example, Shish, but honestly, I think Patton is so much better than this vehicle, and I would rather play with a budget. And I think looking into those two vehicles, they're pretty much worth each other. Both of them is shit. Okay, 1-to-1. Recently, 1-to-1 got buffed, and you know what? I haven't played with this vehicle that much to say my opinion that much, right, if I can say so. So you know what, I'm going to rate it as a playable, because it was very bad, and I will give it a benefit of the doubt, which I have, so I won't rate it as a big pile of shit, because once again, I haven't played that many games with this vehicle. So fellas, playable it is, my lovely friends. I think playable it is. This is as much as I am going to give for this vehicle, right? Once again, I cannot speak too much, but I know the HP got increased, the armor got increased, and the gun became a bit better, if I'm not mistaken, or DPM, but that's it. So playable it is. 1-to-1B. I recently played with this vehicle, and you know what I think? I think this vehicle is pretty... I cannot rate it good. I'm sorry. I simply can't rate it good. I'm going to rate it playable without further ado. But the thing is, this vehicle is looking for me like bad 140. I know it sounds weird, but this is looking like bad 140, right? Gun depression -5, so you are feeling literally like T62A, right? And you don't really have anything super duper hyper turbo special on this vehicle, right? And once again, it's sold for bonds. If I would be you fellas, and if my fingers would not itch to get the new tank, I would not get this one, because it's just simply not worth it. It's not very good. Straightforward, fellas. It is not very good. So playable it is. It's not that bad, but you know, it doesn't have anything super special. Although, if I remember that correctly, heat penetration is very nice. 350 heat penetration, that's good. And gun handling overall is not bad, but once again, it's just not good enough to be in the good category. Moving on, next, STB1. I played with STB1 very recently. It was last week, fellas. I marked this tank up to 100% in the Rus server, and I can tell you a story about this tank. In the past, STB1 used to be the tank which had the best DPM of the medium tanks, if I'm not mistaken, but it used to have a trollish gun handling. Nowadays, STB is still having quite good DPM, but from the 390 alpha damage, it got changed to 360 alpha damage, and gun handling and gun handling is so much better of this vehicle than it used to be before, right? Plus, on top of that, you have the hydropneumatics, or however it's called. I don't even know, fellas, my English is not that good, but the most important thing is with this tank you have minus 14 gun depression, although you can get penetrated from the ARTA very often. And you know what, I would say this is a direct competitor to 140. For newer players, 140 is going to be better, I can guarantee you that, but for a fluffy super unicums or whatever, if you are feeling extremely comfortable in your play, I believe you will love STB1. I'm going to rate this tank as an epic tank, honestly, straightforward. I think this tank is epic. So yeah, easy peasy lemon squeezy, fellas. Everything is fine with this tank. DPM, mobility, gun handling, everything is Gucci. Although I remember I yelled a bit for a couple of missed shots, but it happens, it's RNG. It is a factor which you have with every single tank. TVP. I love TVP with all my heart. I think TVP is actually stronger than a Bachet nowadays, and it is mainly for doing damage. Burst. I would rate it as a good tank, and there is not much to say about it, honestly. You have 4 in the magazine. Between the shells you have 1.5 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 1.5 seconds, which is just simply great, and gun handling is definitely not a big pile of kaku, so everything is fine with a TVP. Good it is. My lovely friends, the new vehicle, CS63. This tank is one of the tanks which made me curse so hard, I can't stand it. But still, this vehicle is usable in the Clan Wars. I am not a Clan Wars master, fellas. I don't care about Clan Wars. For me, it's useless piece of shit. Skill. Could you explain me why this vehicle useless piece of shit? Sure, absolutely. Because it's worse version of the Leo 1. Whenever you are on your mobility stage, your gun handling is pretty much not there. You don't have gun, you're just simply running away, and overall it's just simply not good. Even when you are sniping with this vehicle, right, you're shooting full gold and everything, you are missing majority of your shots. I could not stand this vehicle. And you know what is the funnest part of all this? I actually have my damage record with this piece of shit. It's not even funny, but this is reality, fellas. More I hate the tank, better performance I am having with the tank, and I can't change anything about this. So I am putting this straight to the bad category, because Leo 1 is so much better, and for me it is literally useless, right? It has a game feature which is just useless for me. Although it's good in the Clan Wars, I know you are going on the mines with this tank, and you are getting on the mines first, so you can bang the Ferraris and everything. But once again, this is my opinion about this tank, my friends. Moving on next. UDIS 1516, I have a maximum love for this tank, fellas, and I think it is a great vehicle. Yes, I know you can get penetrated by the ARTA, but on top of that you have minus 13 gun depression, which is very nice. You have a very good gun handling in my opinion, and it's just my tank, okay, fellas? I truly love it with all my heart, and I am going to rate it together with the STB1 into the epic category. Skill, but how dare you? I truly think this tank is good, fellas, and I truly think for players which knows how to play hold down, this tank is going to work very well. Plus, once again, whenever you are using gun depression, you have a very decent armor. Maybe decent is not the right word. You have extremely good armor, and it should work just fine. Although you might be frustrated by the ARTA, which is going to splash you for shit ton of damage. But same goes for STB. You can get penetrated by ARTA or by anyone else, right? If you are making a mistake. So same goes for UDIS. Epic it is, but that's my showcase, okay? Do yours. And last but not least, the king of the hill, Progetto, the most amazing tank once used to be, and it's still good, fellas. I am going to rate it into the good category, and I know quite some of you will say, but skill. Look, my lovely friends, I mean, no wonder why I'm sitting right here, okay? I love this vehicle. Fellas, I truly love this vehicle, so it's straightforward. Even though it got nerfed, it's not epic anymore. It is good. But the equipment 2.0 kind of fixed this tank. Use the stabilizer, rotation mechanism, and ventilation, and you will see how beautiful this tank can be. And one more thing, fellas, before I forgot, I need to check the other tank before I forgot this one. Although I cannot talk a bit too much about this vehicle because it got changed. So, as you can see yourself, my lovely friends, there is a medium tank T95 Eco 6, right, which is the Clan Wars River tank, and honestly, I think it is going to be a good tank. I know it has a good gun handling, it has a good DPM, or bearable gun handling, but extremely good DPM. So in a way, you are playing with this as a heavy tank, and you are getting quite a bit of use just because of this, right? And I might be wrong about this, fellas, but I think it is from good to playable, right, in this section. From good to playable. And once again, I don't want to talk too much because I marketed this vehicle before the tank got buffed, right? So once again, and I did not play Clan Wars to get the tank, so, you know, that's everything. Okay, let's leave heavies for last. Let's go for a tank destroyer. You know what? Let's start with a grille. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, grille. What grille? Usually grille have the reputation to disappear when trash burn is seeing him, right? Honestly, in my opinion, fellas, grille, there is two tank destroyers which is good for sniping from the back, right? At least that's what I think, and that's how I feel, which is grille and Esterva. Esterva is ultimate sniper schnitzel. It has good DPM, it has amazing accuracy and everything. So we will come to that tank very, very soon. But for now, grille. I'm rating it as a good tank, even though grille got nerfed. And once again, quite some of us remember how grille used to look like before, right? On pre-nerfed stage, how fast it used to be, how accurate it used to be, and so on, so on. But it's still not that bad, fellas. I truly mean it, and even though the games are quite quick nowadays, grille still can relocate. It's not slow big pile of kaku. You have a turret in a way. You can turn your gun 50 degrees angle, so like this or so, right, which is completely fine. So honestly, grille is still good. Sue me, fellas, that's my opinion. Jack Pizda. Honestly, I can see why people love this vehicle, but in a way it's just useless pile of kaku, fellas. It is just useless pile of kaku, in my opinion. Everyone is afraid of you until you are shooting, but whenever you are shooting, you are getting banged. With a hit, people can penetrate you straight into the face, into the superstructure, so it's literally useless tank, fellas. I know some of you might love it. Congratulations, I hate it with a passion. I think it is bad vehicle, because neither you can trust the gun, neither you have good speed, neither you have armor, so you have nothing. Only one thing which you have is the alpha damage, and at the same time, if you only care about the alpha damage, although once again, one more thing, it can work for the players which don't have that much reaction time, right? Or not so experienced players. But once again, in my book, in my opinion, this is bad vehicle, straightforward. Object 268. I don't really think this tank have anything too special. I think it is a sniper schnitzel, which is, speaking about the accuracy, worse than grille and worse than Esterva, right? So I would give it playable. I think it has a nice mobility, which is 50 kilometers per hour, 48 kilometers per hour, but in the same time it can move it can move quite well, and it can get a couple of bounces there and there, especially against the lower tier. So once again, let's rate it playable. I can't say it's worse than Jack Pizda because it's not. Moving on next to the Bobject. The tank which had reputation once of being unbreakable and by being the most disgusting tank in the game. Yes, it got nerfed, but yes, it's still powerful, and it's still good in my opinion. It's not epic, it's not the best tank in the world of tanks, but it's not the bad tank whatsoever, so I would rate it as a good vehicle, honestly. You still have mobility, you still have your Russian gun handling and everything, and the armor of this tank is crazy. If you will get permanently tracked, you will get killed, but guys, this is the same with every single tank destroyer, honestly. Although since you are playing with this tank in front, at least usually, obviously you will get banged more often, right? So next, super heavy, and this is actually very comparable. You can compare E3 against the Bobject, and you might think they are two different tanks. Yeah, but both of them have extremely good armor. This is faster, but this tank is way better armored, and probably in the same time it has a better gun handling, in my opinion. So I would rate E3, as wrong as it sounds, fellas, I'm going to rate it as a good vehicle. It's not for everyone, it's not for me, right? But I'm thinking overall how the things is looking like with this tank, and this is a building. This is literally a building of a tank. You can't bang this tank that easily, and probably majority of you are struggling to penetrate this tank. And even on the flat ground, the lower plate is bouncy as effing F. So with all respect, good tank it is. If you are searching for a tank which is made of solid armor, right, and which simply and which can take some beating and have big alpha damage, this is the tank to go. Ignore Jack Pizda because it's useless and go for E3. It's going to be so much better. E4, brother of the E3. Okay, interesting. This tank back in the day, back in 2012 or so, used to be, or in 2011 used to be crazy because it used to be the same E3 but with a turret, and you had the same armor if I'm not mistaken, right? But now you are seeing the E4 very rarely, to be fair with you. And I don't really think it is a bad tank. I think it is a great vehicle. I think it is not that bad, fellas, honestly. But once again, considering you have the cupola, which is easily penetratable, and it's not as close as good for E3 armor, we can put it into the playable category. It's definitely not the most horrible tank, but it's definitely not the best. Foch B. Playable in the best case scenario. Skill-wise, Foch B is playable because it's very situational tank. Sometimes you can find the people non-stop and you can clip. But on the ridge lines and wherever you are going to get outspotted, Arta will penetrate you for full damage. You have two horns in front, so it's not going to be very fun gaming experience unless it's fitting with your style. Playable is as high as I can go. And then we have Foch 155, which is used for memes. Mostly you are having the full high explosive loadout and you are simply trolling around. I can't say it's horrible, although if you want to play competitively with this tank, probably you will regret your life choices and you are not going to enjoy yourself. So I am rating this tank in the best case scenario playable, nothing more than that, although I believe Foch B is better than Foch 155. But once again, when those tanks is working, and whenever you are having that gun accuracy which is hitting you straight into the face, whoo boy, this is going to be nice. Moving on next, Badger, playable in the best case scenario. Why so? Because in the certain situations, whenever you can take the hold down position, you have extremely good DPM and you can pretty much destroy everyone which is coming to you. It's not bad tank, but overall, in the day-to-day basis, it's going to be a quite bad vehicle because once again, people will load gold, they will penetrate you not even into the lower plate, but into those two boobs over there, or driver hatches, or however you are going to call them, but obviously you need to gold for that. And plus on top of that, looking into mobility, you would notice there is 30 kilometers per hour speed, which is not nearly enough in the current game. And in my opinion, the E3 is so much stronger than Badger, even though it doesn't have as much DPM, but I think the gun, the armor is so much better. So Badger, sorry fellas, it is playable in the best case scenario for me. Moving on next, Fava and Trashburn. Actually, wait a second. Deadstar and Trashburn. Oh, that's the right names, right? Both of them is the same and different tanks at the same time. What do you mean, Skill, by saying that? This tank have some armor, so it can take a bit of the beating, but you cannot trust it 100%, and this tank is just tiny touch faster, but you don't have any armor whatsoever, and everyone is going to penetrate you with a high explosives. I can tell you one thing, fun factor of both of those tanks are fun, because whenever you are penetrating, it is a blast. 1.8 thousand. Gun GG finito. But other than that, they are kind of useless, okay? Neither you can trust 100% of the gun, neither you have armor, or if you have armor, you cannot trust it, and so on, so on. So you know what? Just because one pure stat, which is gun and punishing people, one-shotting people left, right, and center, I will rate it as a good tank. But overall, I would rate it as a playable, both of them, if not bad. Honestly, that's my honest opinion, because I believe you know what I'm talking about. Skill, what you are talking about. So, you are playing with your 50B, you are picking corner, and you are seeing the trash burn. Katya. You see, even Katite is afraid of this. Holy bananas. So this is only one way how I can say this vehicle is good or playable, right? Anyways, still rating good and rating good. Moving on next, Vaza. What can I say about Vaza, my friends? I can say this tank is a big pile of kaku. Skill, what do you mean? I am rating it immediately as a bad tank because your gun handling is horrible and you're supposed to be the assault tank destroyer, but in reality you cannot go in front because everyone will penetrate you straight into the face, and in the end of the day you are going to be a big pile of poop. So simple as this. It's tank destroyer which is made in China. If you want assault tank destroyer, play with this or play with this, you will have so much better time, and this tank is equally for me shitty as JKP is. So I would rate this tank as a bad. Moving on next, Esterva, probably the best sniper schnitzel in the game, and if you enjoy sitting next to the red line, I would highly recommend to get Esterva because it is a great tank. It's not the most friendly tank to play with because you need to know the positions from where you can play and so on, but overall it is a great vehicle in my opinion, so straight epic. The best tank destroyer is Esterva nowadays. That's what I think. Best for sniping, DPM, accuracy, literally everything. I mean, look at this. You have like 4.4 thousand DPM with this vehicle. And with a Badger, fellas, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, you are having 4.4 thousand. Why the flying F? I have better DPM on Esterva than I have on the Badger. There is only one way to figure the things out. Am I wrong saying the Badger have the best DPM, or am I silly? Yep, Badger have the best DPM, okay. I'm still fine. And by the way, looking into all this situation, fellas, speaking about the Estervan, speaking about the Badger, the most funnest thing of all this, they have the same accuracy, but you are not hitting nearly enough with a Badger as you are hitting with Esterva. Believe me, trust me on this one. So yeah, here you go, fellas. This is my rating of 2020 for a tank destroyers, and now last but not least, we are going for a heavy tanks. And how to start the heavy tanks if not the tank which I don't have? Skill, which tank you don't have anymore? Chieftain. Straight up, I can tell you that experience of marking this vehicle, fellas. Experience of marking this tank is horrible. It is horrible experience. But in the same time, the tank is very very strong. I mean, extremely strong in the good player hands. It is the most powerful tank in the game. So straight up to epic section, there is nothing to talk about it. It's good tank. Although one more thing which I want to highlight. There is many people which hates the chieftain with all their heart because of the focus which they are going to get while they are playing with a chieftain, right? And they are not going to enjoy it. So there is multiple people which would prefer to play with a super conqueror than a chieftain just to avoid the focus from the Jeffs and from anyone else, right? So keep this in mind. This is very very important thing to mention. So E100, Mouse, and Panzer. You know what? I'm going to rate all of those guys immediately, and I will rate those tanks as a legends, and they are fitting with quite a bit of the people's style. So all of them is going to be skill. What you are thinking? I can't rate them good. I can't rate them playable. They're between good playable. They are between good playable, so Kylers will hate me, but this is going to be the thing for all three of them. Honestly, I prefer Panzer the most. I think it is amazing tank, but it has his own problems. As an example, weak shoulders or weak frontal, weak mantlet, and everything. But the gun handling is good, and I love this vehicle. Mouse, I don't really like it because it's too slow, but it's such an iconic tank and people is enjoying playing with it, especially guys which likes the game to go a bit slower, you know. And same goes for E100 alpha damage or the DPM gun of the 530 alpha damage, right? It's just nice. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, all of those vehicles is going between good and between the playable, or for someone it's going to be good, or for someone it's going to be playable. That's it. That's my rating for those vehicles. They are good at their own way, and they are bad in their own way too. Skill, what is the bad way? Kempinovka 3 artas. Prokurovka 3 artas. Westfield 3 artas. GG, game over immediately. So, moving on next, IS-4. IS-4 got buffed, and IS-4 is looking way better as a tank than it used to be before. In the past, I was saying this tank was a big pile of poop. Now it's actually a good tank, and you can even complete the bouncing missions with this vehicle. And even when you are shooting gold, it's not that easy to penetrate this tank. So we are moving the IS-4 to a good section, and I think it is a great vehicle overall. IS-7, unkillable tank, greatest tank for a new players to start World of Tanks journey. And yes, in the same time, obviously we can say, but the gun and everything, it's not the best, but you can relocate quickly. You have trollish armor. How many times you bounce at Jack Pizda with this tank, and you said so yeah, let's rate it good. I think it is a great tank. 277 and Vaza 5A. Both of those vehicles are literally the same, fellas. They are brothers from other mothers, okay? Both of them is great. The main difference between those two is Vaza 5A is having a better DPM but shitter armor. 277 have chut better armor, or just a bit better armor, and in the same time they are pretty much the same, and both of them are good. I cannot put them into the epic section because they are not even close for a chieftain in my eyes, but both of them are fine, in my opinion. Moving on next, 705A. I played with this vehicle quite recently and I loved it. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I actually enjoy this tank. Obviously, it's not the most flexible vehicle because you have the rear-mounted turret, but the armor of this tank, it's crazy. If you need to hold the line, good luck penetrating this vehicle. Straight to the good section. Skill, are you sure about that? Absolutely yes. I think it is a great vehicle and it is just awesome. Especially for those people which like side scrapping and which likes to play the games a bit slower in a way, right? ST2. I think this is a first Ruski tank which is going to go into the probably. The thing is, whenever you are trying to double penetrate someone and you are failing, you are getting punished so damn hard. And whenever you are shooting singles, it's not really fun to play. I honestly think the double penetration is nothing crazy. I think honestly IS4 is way better than double penetration, and it's just simply nothing too crazy. I would rate this tank bad, but skill, how dare you? Speaking about the double penetration line, fellas, the true gem is IS-3 too, which is fast and which is having good gun handling. Try that tank, it's going to be amazing. This one, it's just simply, I can't say anything good about this vehicle, okay? I played with it quite a bit. I played over 200 games, but I did not like it. I was getting banged way too much with this vehicle because armor is not really working, the gun handling is not epic, and you are getting debated to shoot the doubles, and yes, it's fun, it is emotional, but in the same time, if you are missing, then you will get you won't enjoy yourself that much. So for me, it's bad vehicle. Sue me, fellas, that's my opinion. 260 straight up to the good category. I think it is amazing tank. I think everything is fine with it. I think it is a great vehicle, fellas. That's what I want to say. Good gun handling, good speed. It's pretty much medium in a way, right? Same goes for Vaza and same goes for 277. All of them are fine, so I would rate it good. But once again, whenever you are having a faster tank, you need to know what you are doing, because if you will teleport into the bad position, you will simply get banged. But that goes for every tank, right? So 279E, straight up to the epic category, or in a way a bit broken category, right? I truly think, fellas, this vehicle is simply broken. Against the tier 8s, tier 8s can go and F themselves, because you are just powerful on the flat ground. You will go straight forward and you will bang everyone. Although marking this tank, it is a big pain in the ass. It is one of the most disgusting gaming experience which I had, but once again, it goes because you are playing with broken tank and people is trying to focus you, people is trying to YOLO you, Arta will focus you, and so on, so on. It's not going to be enjoyable. But overall, the tank is very, very good, and especially if you are using it correctly. So imagine that there is a stone over there, you are moving on the stone and you are making the upper plate even more steep. It's GG finito. People can go and eat kako. This is how it looks like. Moving on next. E5, straight to the good category of the tanks. It is very, very trollish vehicle with a standard ammunition. It's not that easy to penetrate this tank cupola, to be fair with you, and gun handling DPM is just amazing. Good vehicle, I think it is nice, and a lot of people is saying, but skill, how the things is looking like, how you imagine the 5A, E5 without cupola. It would be chieftain level of the tank. So I think tank's supposed to have a weak spot, and believe me, it's not that weak unless you are shooting gold, right? T57, some people love it, some people hate it. For me, I can imagine why people is enjoying this vehicle, so I am going to rate it good. But overall, the tank is very, 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 very interesting in the best case scenario, right? What do I mean by saying this is, if you are sniping via the long distance, it is going to be a big pile of kako. Okay, that's what I want to believe. If you are playing via the short distance, then obviously you might get penetrated and everything, right? So it's not going to be fun. By the way, Katita wants to leave uno momento. So yeah. T57, let's rate it good, just because of the one pure factor, the burst fire, right? This is the best thing about the T57 in my opinion. So here we go. Moving on next, 50B, I will rate it as a playable, because it's way, way, way harder tank to play than T57, but in the same time it has better gun handling and obviously better armor, better gun handling and better mobility, but armor is very debatable, and you can even get penetrated by the art or the trash burn like nothing, right? So let's rate it playable, but overall tank is good in my opinion. But once Again, it depends on the players. Moving on next, AMX M4 Mile, playable. Straight to the playable category. Why so? Because it is pretty much disappointment after the tier 9. So if you would pay attention at AMX M451, this tank is the king of the tier 9. It's amazing, and it's pretty much the same tank in the tier 9. Tier 10 is a bit of the disappointment, but you know, it can work sometimes. I don't really think it is as bad as double penetration, honestly. That's what I think. Super Conqueror, quite good vehicle, not quite good vehicle, very, very good vehicle, especially when you are digging into the APCRs and playing hold down. Quite good against the heat ammunition, weak against the artas as everyone, but if you are using your gun depression properly, it can work just ideally, and Westfield is the map which you want to get with this vehicle, right? So let's rate it good. Fava 215B, immediately let's rate it to the bad category, aka garbage category, because yes, I love you. I know it used to be your favorite tank, but this tank is just horrible. Why so? Because Super Conqueror, if you are comparing those two vehicles immediately, Super Conqueror has everything what this Fava has, plus armor and plus better. It's just bad. You are burning frontally, you are getting ammo racket, you don't have any armor whatsoever. People with a gold can penetrate you into the frontal mantlet. People can penetrate you here if you are trying to side scrap. In other words, it is a big chunk of pile of kaku. 113, playable. Skill, what do you mean playable? It's pretty much worse version of the 430U. But skill 430U medium, exactly. This is like a medium tank in a way, right? Or it is as heavy as 430U is, just way less, right? Armor compared to the 430U is bad. Gun depression -7, which is not too bad, but in my opinion, it's I believe every single person would agree. 113 is worse than 5A. Da, simple. End of the story. 113 is just simply it used to be one of the most powerful tanks, but now unfortunately it's not the case anymore. Type 5 heavy, straight to the bad category. Why so? Because it's just big chunk of meatball. In my opinion, mouse is so much better, and so on. There is nothing to tell about this tank. It is powerful against the tier 8s, but if the tier 9s, tier 10s is going to load the gold, you are pretty much screwed and you can forget your name. And plus on top of that, speaking about the tier 10 matchmaking, you are going to get majority of the times matchmaking against the tier 10, so you are going to get from 2 to 3 artists in a battle. Plus on top of that, you are going to have a lot of people which is going with a full gold, so it's GG. Lewandowski. Good tank. Gun handling can be a bit of annoying. Gun handling can be a bit annoying on this vehicle because you might miss something, but in the same time you can ignore any armor whatsoever with a high explosive spam, which is happening very often in the ranked battles, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And speaking about the penetration with the hits, it's kind of to the lower side, to be fair with you. Even Russian mediums have a better penetration with the hits, and so yeah, this is the thing. So the best thing about this tank is trollish armor, which this vehicle has, and trollish gun. So in a way it is tank for trolling, if I can say so. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Kranwagen. It is either good, it is either playable. Probably I will rate it good, and only one tank from the auto loaders is going to be 50B, which is going to be in the playable category, because I'm trying to, whenever I'm rating tanks, fellas, I'm trying to see my side of the things and your side of the things, right? I'm trying to combine those two, and this is the score which I'm getting right here. And in my opinion, Kranwagen is a good tank, right? Whenever you are playing hull down, that means you are not showing your hull. You are having quite decent armor with this vehicle. The gun handling is not that bad, and plus on top of that, you can actually be aggressive with this vehicle. This is the most aggressive tank from the autoloader, speaking about those two, right? So let's rate it good, and let's move further. Last but not least, we have the Renault Trashante. I hate this tank with a passion. I think it's useless. I think it is very, very horrible tank, and I don't really like this vehicle. I don't even want to play with this tank. I don't even want to think about it. And every single content creator hates it. Apart couple of the guys, if I'm not mistaken, Milan doesn't really mind this vehicle. Everyone else is hating on this tank, and they're thinking it's garbage. And you know what? I completely agree with them. It's bad. So, fellas, my lovely friends, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a great time. I hope you enjoyed yourself close to 1 hour video talking non-stop. I hope you found it helpful, interesting, and everything. And I hope you are going to make the right decisions whenever you are picking the lines which you are going to grind. Remember, you can always support us with the Kylers by leaving the big fat like, so we will know you appreciate we will know you appreciate what we are doing here. Quick hint, we are going to, if the feedback is going to be beautiful on this video, we are going to go for a tier 9 and tier 8 edition, not premium tanks, standard tech 3 tanks and some premiums, right? Although about the tier 8s, no premiums on the standard vehicles. So fellas, thank you very much for watching. That was your daily dose of skill, and skill is out. Peace.